for the jury.
Those stories in a moment, but first, a confrontation between a Sandy Springs police officer and suspected home intruder ends with the officer stabbed multiple times and the suspect shot.
Both survived and are in the hospital tonight. A second officer suffering minor injuries, possibly from a ricocheting bullet. We have team coverage for you tonight, starting with Latasha Givens, live near the Cameron Glen subdivision in Sandy Springs. Latasha, the suspect is accused of burglarizing multiple homes there?
That's right, Sheba. And nearly 10 hours later, this is still an active scene with some of the homes still surrounded by crime scene tape. Now, that suspect who was shot after stabbing an officer multiple times was spotted on home surveillance footage, which has since been turned over to police.
Shots fired. Shots fired. Officer down. We got an officer with stab wound to the base of the neck and skull. Tell AMR to step it up. Be advised. Subject has 2 gunshot wounds, one to the upper head and one to the back.
Police dispatch revealing the serious situation inside this home in the Cameron Glen subdivision after Sandy Springs police say an officer was stabbed by a suspected home intruder.
Our dispatch put the call out.
Sergeant Sal Ortega with Sandy Springs police says 911 calls came pouring into the neighborhood. Various homeowners reporting a man inside their home or on their property.
As they were investigating another one, this one came into progress, so they quickly came over here, and that's where they found the suspect.
It was at this home, draped in crime scene tape, where officers confronted the suspect dressed in camouflage clothing in the living room. Police say he stabbed an officer several times before being shot by another officer.
We actually have a flock camera, so I immediately jumped online to check our flock activity, and I saw nothing but police cars, one after another.
Adam Blatt, the president of the neighborhood association, says residents are shocked the suspect allegedly entered their homes in broad daylight. A neighbor shared this home surveillance video showing a man in camouflage clothing slowly walking down the street just after 8 a.m. This afternoon, investigators went door to door speaking to neighbors and collecting evidence. No word yet on how many homes the suspect burglarized along the way. Police say there were multiple. His name has not yet been released. Back to you.
Tasha Givens, thank you. The injured officer recovering tonight at Grady Hospital, and that is where we find 11 Alive's Doug Richards to give us an update. Doug?
Yes, there are 2 officers were taken to Grady's emergency room by ambulance with 2 very different kinds of injuries. One of them had the stab wounds that Latasha described, and the other had a gunshot injury to his hand. Now, that officer got treated and released pretty quickly. The officer who's been here all day is expected to get out shortly, according to a tweet sent by Sandy Springs Mayor Rusty Paul just in the last hour. During the day, several officers from Sandy Springs Police Department, as well as the Fulton County Sheriff's Office, showed up at Grady to check on the officer recovering from the knife attack. They weren't authorized to speak publicly, but they told me as they exited that the officer was doing pretty well and appeared to be well on his way to recovery from the knife wounds. And they were smiling when they said it, so obviously they were happy that the injuries were not worse than they are. Again, that officer is expected to be released shortly, certainly before the evening is out. Back to you. Doug